Hey Genesis family, I got a 2014 3.8 doing the front brakes, and I just wanted to put a quick video together to show you guys how to do this. YouTube was a little cray-cray, so here we go. Once the wheel is off, you're going to need a 10mm socket, 17mm socket, a flathead screwdriver, and possibly a pair of pliers. If you have a magnet from an old speaker, that's a good thing to have too, because you want to keep track of little parts. And you may need the good old trusty hammer. I would also recommend a number 2 Phillips head on some sort of impact, and I'll show you why in a second. So here we go, we'll get started. First thing you need to do is you need to pull these 2 little cotter pins right here. There's one there, and there's one up here, okay? So we'll pull those cotter pins. Okay, the cotter pins are pulled, and we've got these pins now, pin here, and a pin here to pull out. You may need to tap them on the back ends here a little bit to get them to come out, but they'll pull straight out. Caution, when you pull this first pin, this piece is under tension and will go flying that way. So just be cognizant that when you pull this pin out, this piece is going to go flying. Okay, that hardware is removed. Now we're left with this. The cool thing about this is you've got 2 pistons on this side and 2 pistons on this side. So what you want to do is get a screwdriver down there between your rotor, and you want to get it between your rotor and your pad, and you want to wedge to move the pad that way, and wedge to move the pad that way. So can't hold this stable and do this, but basically you want to get your screwdriver right in there, and you just want to start working it outward. I do that by putting the screwdriver in and then twisting it, giving it a little twist. So that's how we want to push this pad all the way out that way, and take this pad and pull it all the way this way. So I've got the first side finished, and you can see how I've used my screwdriver to pull the caliper, pull it and push it back. So I take the brake pads and I push them back against the caliper pistons. I'll now do the other side. Okay, once you're done creating that space, these pads should just operatively, figuratively, should just pull out. So maybe work them a little bit, but these guys should just pop right out. It's coming. Get the right hand in there to there we go. And as you can see, we're getting a little bit low. So do that on both sides, and then we'll remove the caliper. All right, to remove the caliper, you're going to use your 10mm socket right here, and your 17mm is going to be here, actually right there, sorry. So your 17mm, so you have to get this one off first before you get to this one, and when you put them back on, you need to put this one on first and tighten it all the way before you put this one on, because you won't have the space because your brake line's in the way. So if you take this off and this off, when you take this one off, this whole caliper is going to want to lean forward, so just be careful of that. And then have your bungee cord ready. You're going to wrap the bungee cord through here, up the top, and then I connect it up here so that that suspends the caliper while you're changing out the rotor. All right, the caliper is now out of the way, suspended by my bungee cord. Time to get the rotor off. You've got 3 screws, 1, 2, 3 to get off. It's a number 2 Phillips, so I highly recommend using an impact, because yeah, using it by hand is going to be tough. So I'm going to get these 3 off, and then it's time to get the rotor off. And just be very careful, just nice and easy with your impact. Bring it out like so, nice and easy. Okay, so where'd that go? See my little speaker magnet over here. Got all my parts on there. So there's the 3 screws, 2 caliper bolts, the suspension bolt for the brake line, my 2 pins, and then my 2 cotter pins. Now time to get this bad boy off. It's frozen on there. So this is where taking Old Faithful here on the back side, right about there, and just tapping it all the way around till that rotor comes off. See you in a few. Okay, that only took about a minute, but now we're ready to come off with the rotor, and you'll notice that there's a lot of rust on the hub here. I'm going to use my Dremel with a little bit to clean off a lot of this rust. Hopefully that prevents the next one from sticking to it. So I have a little Dremel here with this wire bit on it, and I'm just going to use that to clean this whole hub up. Okay, so I cleaned that up a little bit. I have no evidence to prove that that does anything, but it makes me feel good, and I'm in my happy place now. Now for the new rotor. Okay, the new rotor is on. Yeah, buddy. And just make sure you look at your hub and you line these properly. We'll put our 3 set screws in. All right, we got our screws back in here. I put the caliper back on, and I've got my bolts ready to get put in here, and the one down below it. I can remove the bungee cord. We don't need that anymore. And then after this, we're gonna set our pads and pins, and we'll be done. Okay, they sent some lubrication and said to put it on the back of the brake pad, which I did. I also put it on the pins where they're going to be going through these holes to make it slide a little easier. Learned my lesson on the other side. So these install just like this with the open ends facing the outside so that the pin can go through them all. So this one will just slide in like so. And you just slide your brake pads in there. And you kind of got to wiggle these around a little bit. So that they seat in there. So there, easy as that, done. I'll do the other side and we'll get the pins going. So I've got one pin through with the cotter pin on the other side. I find it's easier to do it just this way, and then this is going to slide under. These springs put tension onto your brake pads to keep them in place, and then your other pin will go through up top here. And that's a wrap, folks. So we got the pin back in, cotter pin on the other side. Freely moves. This one moves down here. We've got a brand new brake pads, brand new slotted and grooved rotors. Everything else is looking good in here. Don't see any grease. So have a great day, folks. Thanks for watching, and go rock and roll with your Genesis. We'll see you guys.